Hello, welcome back to my video. As I said before in my last video, I said I was going to actually go through my goals with you and really test on what I'm doing to make sure I'm doing the most for my career, at least for the next 4 weeks. So the first thing on that list was to literally look for jobs outside of my own company, just in case the worst comes to shove and I need to move ship. So if you saw the title, you already know where it's going. Yes, I have applied to over 60 jobs. At this point, actually over 70 jobs in the last 2 to 3 weeks. So that's why you saw it was in progress last week or whenever I posted that YouTube video. Because I actually did apply, and I started applying around when I basically was getting kicked off my current project, was July 1st. So around July, I actually started to apply to jobs, and now that's only July 18th at the time of recording. I've only applied to 73 jobs, and no, I have not been going the easy route of just mass applying with the same exact resume. I actually been doing a little bit of a structure that honestly people probably already know, but I just want to tell you how I'm doing it because it might seem like a hack, but I am actually doing it in the more normal way that probably people might want to do these days, since applying for jobs can be a sport or a full-time job. But I want people to know that if you are applying for jobs, if they're gonna look at your stuff using AI, then use AI to help you out, So before you throw tomatoes at me, please let me show you what I mean. Alright, if you look over here, you see that I have my Notion board. If before you saw my last video, I talked about the goals I wanted to do, one of them being looking for jobs. So obviously, I had to make a template that they already had because I am not good at making templates at all. And it had this really nice, perfect one that I'm using for job hunting. So right here, yes, this is my actual job, job thingy. I am hiding the company for obvious reasons. But it does give you the position, the flexibility, the status, salary ranges, and my resume being used on the actual table. While on the side, it gives you the choices that you can choose to apply for jobs. I haven't actually been using this slide. It came with a template, but it looked really cool, so I kept it. Here you have interview preparations, where I could go in there, put questions, put answers, maybe put a link to a video if I want to record myself. My CV, which is my initial resume that I'm probably using for everything, and then my cover letter template. FYI, I don't like using cover letters, nor do I truly support them, because at the end of the day, if they want to know more about you, they can always just, get you an interview. But that's a little 2 cents, so nothing much to it. But if you want more proof that I've actually applied to these jobs and not just played around, I applied to 73 jobs total, and already you can see how many of those jobs I've been actually rejected from or interviewing from. So 73, of those 73 jobs, 60 of them are actually still in applied mode. 12 of them I've already been rejected in the last 2 weeks, and only one of them I'm currently still interviewing for. So you're probably wondering, how did I get to over 73 jobs without mass producing my resume for everything? Because as you can see here on the side, each of these link to a different resume. I'm not going to click on it because my actual resume just made slightly different for each job position, because of course I'm a consultant now, but maybe I want to do product managing, maybe I want to be a business analysis, and those call for different skills and different information for each role that I played in the past. So I need a new resume for every single one of them. Now, for this recording, I'm not going to show you my actual resume. I think I've done it in the past, but I don't want to dox myself in any way, shape, or form. So I'm going to show you how I do it using a sample resume, a job application, and ChatGPT. So let's get into it. So what I'm going to do here is kind of go through a job that I've already applied for and kind of get into basically what am I looking for when it comes to a job, salaries, whether or not I want to be on site, remote, whatever, and then go into the actual resume. So if you look on the bottom here, or really anywhere, but I'm looking at the bottom, it's a technical product analysis. Usually for these type of jobs, they do want you to be more functional in your know-how, so it's less about talking to people and more about getting into systems and talking to people. So for this one specifically, it was on site. It is for an applied job, so I did apply for it. The salary ranges from a nice 100K to almost 1.25K, which is really good because considering that I've been in the industry for 2 years, I think I need a little bit more money. And I do have my resume linked here. And obviously, because I am based out of Chicago and I still have a lease, I very much want to stay as closely to Chicago as I possibly can. Or if it must be remote and then be in like New York, I do want to be there. But of course, some jobs do actually ask for it for 2026. So those ones are a bit iffy. I might apply for a job that will be in California, for example. I don't want to move to California. I hope I remember that. But if I was in California and I know it wasn't a year after my lease was to end, maybe I'll think about it more. But currently my lease is for another year. I don't want to risk breaking my lease because I love this apartment and I don't want to move to somewhere that's a little bit more expensive for only 100K. So one thing that I've always known when applying for jobs is, one, if you see yourself doing a job that you follow half to like 2/3 of the requirement, you should apply. That's what I've learned when applying for jobs, is that a lot of the skills they ask for or requirements they want, you might actually have it, and then they hit you with that 5 years of experience for entry level, mid-level, senior level, whatever, and you're just like, whoa, I have a max of 3. Apply, because for one, they don't know for sure that you have 5 years. Maybe your resume might be telling on you a little bit, but if you have the skills that they're looking for and the job is still under months later, you should just apply, because no one else apparently is, or maybe the pay is too low for that kind of job with the 5 years that they ask for. That could be yours just with 3 years of experience. So that's what I've learned. I also feel like some jobs have kind of clocked me in that regards, because I've seen them be like, oh, even if you don't qualify for everything, they qualify for most of them, apply. And I legit wasn't going to apply for that job, only because I didn't think I even liked the position. But then they said that and I was like, okay, first of all, I do apply for jobs I qualify for more than half. So I'm kind of going to go through that with you guys, just choosing a random job, because obviously I think I've applied to like so many jobs, but in this industry it's never truly enough until you reach like 100. And even then, you better hope you actually apply to jobs that you are going for. So number 2, when I go for applying jobs, I always try to go for ones that are very similar to my original resume. So my original resume is for consulting and also product managing. As you can see here, majority of my roles that I have are literally product managing and consulting, with a few sprinkled in here about, engineer and AI platform. Don't worry about that. I got a little too ahead of myself. But for the most part, I don't try to go outside my sphere, at least for right now, because those are the ones I'm trying to aim for and I have the most experience in. And if I was to, knock on wood, hopefully one day get an interview in these jobs, I don't want to be doing like wonder interviews, doing a case study, and then be looking around like, oh my god, how do I do this? I have the skills, but I learned it like 2 or 3 years ago. I'd rather do something more recent, and then if I need to go for a job that is more, let's say, mechanical engineer for one, I'm not trying to struggle to be like, oh, what do I remember for college? I'm just trying to realize like I have skills and experience in this profession. Let me go for that first. Once that exhausts or everyone says no to me, then let's go for the other one, because I still got a degree and it's going to be put to work one way or another. But that's enough chit chat. I'm going to go straight into the resume I'm using, what job we're going for. Might not even be a good job, to be honest with you. I punched all the ones I found. And ChatGPT and how that is going to help us rebuild it. So right now I'm going to this website for career services at University of Pennsylvania, because they actually give out pretty good samples resumes. And what would you know, the first resume they have on here is literally for consulting. So I'm gonna click on it, which is pretty cool because I feel like it was calling to me. And if I could even, okay, cool. So right here, what a resume looks like. Oh my god, someone's docking their entire self on here. That's a little crazy. But anyway, this person's named Matt Smith and lives in Dubai. So that's a little tangent. Anyway, they have their education, their profession, their leadership skills, and their honor awards, and their skills and interests. In other words, this person has done more in their life in probably like 1 year than I've done in like 4 years. But this is the resume we're going to use. Your resume does not even look this packed. Honestly, I don't think my resume looks this packed, but mine does touch the bottom of the page, so we're good with that. So we have our resume. It's just a consulting one, real basic, real simple. I'm not going to read any of these because it's like 3 bullet points. They could still put more. Oh my gosh. Anyway, I wonder what font this is. So now we're going over to Built in Chicago because they tend to have a lot of tech jobs that are really quick for me to look for. And they actually are mostly in Chicago, some in the suburbs, unfortunately. So let's click around for a job that actually looks good for us and maybe even works well for our sample resume. So on here, I'm literally going to type in consulting because I just realized this is just on every job under the sun. And for experience, I'm going to click on entry and junior just in case. Okay, so already I know I'm not going for sales, but let's do one that is very similar. Let's do one that's business consulting, US, for quantum metrics. Oh my gosh, English, still my first language. So already you can see that it has the typical things for a job, like a job description, whatever. And it was actually reposted 12 days ago. So maybe I need to relook on this website myself, but I will not be going for this one. So the thing that I would use if I was applying for this and use my job tracker, the title, the company, whether or not it's remote, where it is in the country, and the salary. The salary, it's a little low to a lot of high. So if we are lucky, we could get this high and maybe work a little better. But what you will want from the job description is literally the role, the responsibilities, requirements, recruitment process, maybe, and then the perks if you want to add that in. But the first thing we're going to do is go over to our ChatGPT. Hello, ChatGPT. And then we're going to type in using my resume. This is the prompt that I use for all of them. And yes, I do make sure my ChatGPT is not logged in because I don't need them saving my information. Yeah. So I would say using my resume, and then I'll go all the way back here, copy the entire. Okay, I'll go over here to this resume, copy the entire resume, making sure everything's in there. Go back to ChatGPT, say using my resume, paste it, scroll, revise it, make it sound human, and have it pass ATS, and be honest using this job description. I'm so sorry if you have to realize that I type really slow with one hand, but the mic is in my other hand. So then I would just copy this entire website. Sometimes I don't even have a real stopping point just because I'm just trying to get as many jobs on this board as possible. So then I copy that. I go over here where it says revise it, make it sound human, have it pass ATS, and be honest using this job description. And I paste it and I press enter. Okay, so while it's doing that, I'm going to explain why I put those parameters into my prompt while it's working. So obviously when I say you're using my resume, I am linking my resume, right? And then when I have the prompt for the actual job description, I want them to revise my current resume using this job description. I want to make it sound human, so the person reading it doesn't automatically clue in that it's AI. I wanted to pass ATS, which is the application tracking system. If you don't already know, it is used when a lot of companies use their own AI system. They put your resume through this AI system. Instead of reading it, they want to check if you have chosen words that they use in their descriptions and their qualifications to see if you're the right candidate to move forward. And by having another AI system that you're using put in those ATS wording, you have a better chance of actually going to the next round versus you trying to figure those words out yourself on some website when you already know ChatGPT is probably copy and pasting from the websites anyway. And the last thing is to be honest, because if we're being honest, right, ChatGPT tends to sometimes remake things and then have things you never done in your entire life on a resume. And while that might get you a job, the moment you get to the interview, you're literally going to be like called out for lying, and then you don't get a job anyway. So there is no point of lying all the way through unless you're a really good liar or you're planning on learning something like Python 2 weeks before your first round of interviews. But I like to be honest around here because I'm not learning Python in 2 weeks. I just won't do it. But our new resume, is currently finished. So let's see what it says. So already it has the student's name, email address, phone number, and everything else. Now you know why I keep my ChatGPT not logged in, because imagine if it kept all this information. I'll have to be like, oh, I hope they don't save it. They will. Always keep your AI system, unless you need to log in, keep it on logged out, just because it's harder for them to save things if they're not logged in. I hope. Anyway, it keeps the education, it keeps your high school level stuff. You can always put in what the year is, or if anything is being deleted. Obviously, with every AI system, always read what you have. Otherwise, you're risking it for yourself. Let's be honest. Even on the bottom, ChatGPT says ChatGPT can make mistakes. Check important info, and all of this is important. So, next we have our experience. This is what you really want to look into. If you want another reference, this is what our original resume looked like for the experience. Here you have 3 bullet points talking about something. I'm not reading that. But here you still have 3 bullet points, but now it's still adjusted for the resume, for the job description that we already took. So you can read through it yourself, even pause the video to even see the difference between what you had before and what you have now. And obviously, I did ask ChatGPT to stay honest, make sure they just revise it to fit the job description, but you need a second looking just to make sure they're not saying to do something totally crazy and you're just going along with it because you told them to be honest. I wish it was that easy. But as you can tell, the person had a lot of experience, so already they're going for the other one as well. And if you don't remember, this is a job description. We are applying for a business consultant. Even better. We are applying for a business consultant, and the qualifications were all about making sure you have years of experience with digital analytics, no quantification, no quantitative data for drawing meaningful conclusions, yada yada, self-starter, client-facing, all this other work. Probably I could do this. I'm not even gonna lie. Is this remote by chance? Anyway, don't worry about that. But even here, they even changed it up so that it can be reworded in a way that make you more appeasable to jobs to look at your stuff. So here you still have the leadership. Obviously, they're probably not going to change your leadership stuff. They might reword some things to make it look more ATS qualified. And then, yeah, I'm not going to read any of this because it's not mine. And also, this person had a lot to say. But you can see here for Dubai College, deputy head boy elected to lead 120 members. That shows leadership. They collaborated with administration. That shows cross collaboration skills, all that stuff. And they definitely go more in details with the projects, with the skills. And the skills here, you definitely want to make sure you look at the skills, right? So over here, it says they know Python, Microsoft Excel, yada yada, all these other things. They know French, which is amazing if they actually do. But let's compare it to the actual skills they have. They have a lot less skills here than what ChatGPT is saying. They know French, yes. They know Java, C, Arduino, Python, Microsoft Office, and all this other stuff. But then here, they also pull out strong time management, excellent presentation and writing skills, team leadership, conducting stakeholder training, and all this other stuff. Now, could this be true based on what we saw from their own resume and what they rebuilt here? Yes. And that is a skill. It's not a hard skill, it's a soft skill. But at the same time, if you don't feel the strongest about conducting stakeholder training and presenting analytical findings, don't keep it in there. If you don't know if you can learn that in time for an interview, or if you don't even know if you have that skill, period, delete it. You already have everything else that works for you in your favor. Python. I'm not even sure if they said they know Java. Yeah, they're fluent in Java. Okay, perfect. And then right here, they might give you a little bit of a spiel for the company in case they ask you for more, or even if they ask you for a cover letter, which they would tailor for you. Me personally, I wouldn't use the cover letter just because I don't like cover letters. I could use AI to do it, but if I can get away from wasting more digital paper to just do something, I would do it in a heartbeat. So that is basically how I applied to 60 jobs in over like 2 weeks. But for that, if I did want to turn this in, obviously I would just take my original resume, make a copy of it, put the information that I'm getting from the ChatGPT into here, and then just post about it when I click apply right here. But if you're not sure if ChatGPT is doing it right, or you want to double check, I do sometimes ask, which is kind of dumb, but I do ask it, does it pass ATS? Let's see what it says. Alright, so already it says it does pass, and it gives you the reasoning why. Clear structure, format, set standard section tiles, key optimization, even tells you the words that it's using, simple fonts and layout, proper use of bullet points, contact info, job title matching, use of measurable impact and results, and file compact capabilities, and all these other things. Now, obviously, they'll always give you more information about what you could use. Maybe what you have isn't 100% to a job title, but you don't need to always do all that. Like, it's not the biggest of deals. That's how I would do it personally, and it has saved me a lot of time. Clearly, you don't just apply to 70 jobs by doing this by hand, I think. But that's how I would do it. So if I was to make this into its own tab, I would literally just click next. I'm really going to put this into its own tab. I would just click next page, put my title. If it's on site or remote, it's remote. Click applied, put in my little salary, and then type in the link I would use if I was to remake my resume, which for example would be this, but fixed up, obviously. So let's do that now, because I feel like if you are using this template, this is a small way I do it so that it doesn't just take up the entire page. I will type in resume link, because it's a link to a resume, right? Now you have your wording. Now you just hover over it, go here, and then you just paste it. And now you can just click on it, and it instantly takes you to your resume. Now obviously this is a sample and I will be deleting this, but this is a quick and easy way I do it. So that's just a quick and dirty way I've been applying to jobs, and I applied to over 73 jobs. They just think it's 74 now because I keep adding. But I like Notion. I'm not sponsored by them in any way, shape, or form, but this is really good in terms of this. The calendar doesn't help me at all. But so far, right, how well has this helped me, you might be wondering. Before I got rejected from the role, I actually had, I think, a total of 3 interviews that I was doing, and then it went down to 1 because the other 2 rejected me. So that's pretty cool. Not the rejection part, but the part that I am not being instantly denied jobs, right? Obviously, I have 12 rejections, so 3 of them were actually part of the whole interviewing, and then 2 of them said no. And then 1 of them, I just sent in my stuff, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we hear back and get to the next round. If not, we have 60 other jobs waiting for a reply. But as you know, with everything else, not everything is clear cut. This is not an easy way for you to get into a job if you just never had a chance with AI in their system. You should do your due diligence, make sure that stuff looks good, make sure it's correct. Even I had to readjust what ChatGPT told me, because they were going to lie about how many skills I had, and I was like, let's not do that. I'm not learning it before I get an interview. Now, does this count in learning more about the companies and actually knowing the culture and what they do there, the yada yada? No. In my honest opinion, I don't even look at what a company does, or if it's a great culture fit, or if it's really has a really good office in the city, because at the end of the day, I can get rejected at the first level, and the first level is usually one of the hardest to get past. If I don't even make it past the first level, what am I doing all that research for? I wait until I get an interview, and then I start researching, because you do get almost a week or more to say yes to an interview or even do the interview. So that's when I actually started putting my eggs in the basket and be like, oh, okay, you care about me. Let me look you up. What do you do? What was your stocks last year? Things like that. And otherwise, I'm wasting time to look up 74, 73 really, jobs, making sure they're all good and all that stuff. And then usually I go for companies that I already know or are really big in the industry. Otherwise, the other ones would just tell you they all have great culture and then one like best consulting workforce in like 2020. You're like, okay, cool. I mean, I guess it must be true. But yeah, that's really all I have. This is the way I've done it. This is the way I hope to continue doing it. In college, I don't think I've done it this way ever. I used to just apply to jobs and then delete rejections so fast I've almost forgotten that I even get rejected. And I had this job. So nothing has really harmed me in the way I do things. If you have a different way, please put it in the comments below. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I did say I wanted to tell you more about how I knew my goals. So this is one of the goals I've started way before I wrote my goals down to begin with. So I'm hoping you enjoy it. I hope you learned something. If you did, drop a like, subscribe, drop a comment if you have your own way of doing things. And I hope to make more videos showcasing how I'm reaching my goals. And if this even pans out or if it was a flop, I'm just doing differently after my 1,000 application. So we'll see then. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.